What is good, YouTube, and all you Dolphins fans? And today, the Dolphins finally made their new look coaching staff official, officially announcing Chan Gailey as the offensive coordinator and Josh Boyer as the new defensive coordinator, replacing Patrick Graham. By the time the press release had made it to the masses, Brian Flores had already met with Dolphins beat writers who were in town for this week's Senior Bowl. Coach Flores talked for half an hour and explained on the record for the first time why he made the changes that he did to the coaching staff at the end of the season. Or, put more simply, why did Coach Flores fire Chad O'Shea after just one season and replaced him immediately with a guy like Coach Gailey, who hasn't coached since 2016? Coach Flores said at the meeting, "I have a lot of respect for Chad. I think he's a very, very good coach. But at the end of the day, I feel like for the future of this team, my vision for us offensively, I feel like it's a move we just have to make from a vision standpoint, as far as how we're going to run the football and throw the football. How we're going to go about meetings and practices and walkthroughs, I felt like we needed to do something a little differently than we had in the past." Coach Flores also added, "I'm charged with having a vision for this team." At that position, head coach, from the coaching staff standpoint, a lot of thought went into this. It wasn't just a snap decision, even though he did. It was a swift move. Chad O'Shea, I think he was fired, the day after our last game. And then Chan Gailey was, the news was put out there that Chan Gailey was going to replace him. So it did seem like a pretty swift move and something that Coach Flores definitely was thinking about for a long time, probably for, who knows, maybe the duration of the 2019 season. Coach Flores said it was definitely a back and forth. When you're in this seat, you have to make some hard decisions, and that was one of the decisions that I did make, and I felt like it was the best thing for this team. The Dolphins last season finished 27th in yards, 310 per game, 25th in scoring at 19 points a game, and last in rushing at a measly 72 rushing yards per game. But in my opinion, even though those numbers look terrible, I thought that the offense was getting better and better as the season went along. I thought that Chad O'Shea was pretty, creative and just did a good job with his play calling. But obviously, Coach Flores, wasn't liking the way he was going about the offense, and I fully trust Coach, which I'm sure a lot of you do. So now it's up to Chan Gailey to improve on those numbers, and just how he's going to go about that, it really remains a mystery at this point. Because he's got experience in a lot of offenses, and just excited to see how the offense will go, especially with much better talent next year. A better offensive line, maybe a new weapon or two at receiver, even though we really don't need it at this point. Some new running backs, which is sorely needed, and definitely a good tight end to pair with Gesicki. The thought out there is that Gailey's going to run a spread offense in Miami, but Coach Flores did cast some doubt on that assumption today. Coach Flores said this is someone who has been around the block. Obviously he's 68 years old. It could be a spread offense. It could be the power game. It's whatever, Coach Flores said. He tries to put players in just the best position to do the things that they do well. And you've heard me say that often. That's something I've always seen from him and something that I have a lot of respect for. And that is definitely something that the Dolphins did this previous season. Coach Flores believes that a 68-year-old who hasn't called plays in more than 3 years is best suited to build, a modern offense while developing a modern quarterback. But why does Coach Flores think he's the right man for the job? He said that he's very innovative. He's been a head coach in this league. He said that he understands situations. He's coached a lot of different types of players. He's done a good job of getting the most out of players. He's someone that I have a lot of confidence in, and Coach Flores thinks that he's going to help us. Flores has never worked with Gailey, but he has coached against him plenty, going up against him in the AFC East. Coach Gailey is said to be great at in-game adjustments, Coach Flores said, and he'll be prepared for every type of defense that the team will see this season. But Gailey's number one job is to help the team identify the right quarterback for this year's draft, and then turn him into a star once the Dolphins have drafted him. So obviously, with all that experience, hopefully, Coach Gailey can help with some input. If we do take a quarterback this year, we might skip the quarterbacks this year. But I mean, trading all those players and getting assets, we definitely probably have to take one this season. Coach Flores said that he's worked with a lot of quarterbacks and he's been a head coach. He understands, let's call it the coach and quarterback dynamic, that relationship and how important it is. He's a very good teacher and he's gotten the most out of every guy that's been in his quarterback room. And to me, that's coaching, Coach Flores said. As for defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham's request to get out of his contract and take the same job in New York, Flores elected not to block his longtime friend from making the lateral move, even though he could have. The decision was easier because of the confidence that Coach Flores has in Josh Boyer, whom Flores promoted when Graham bolted for the Giants. Coach Flores said on Josh Boyer, he and I see things through the same lens in a lot of ways. He coached corners and I coached safeties, and we spent a lot of time together. Defensive philosophies and fundamentals and techniques, the things we teach, we're very much on the same page. I thought we were on the same page with Patrick Graham as well. I don't want to give the impression that we weren't, but I just felt it was a smooth transition with Josh moving into that role. And, if Coach is more confident with Boyer moving forward, then good on him. If it's better for the team and the offense, and if it's a guy that he thinks, the process will be more smooth with, then I'm all for Josh Boyer being the defensive play caller instead of Patrick Graham. And as we all know, Coach Flores has got a huge hand in the defense. I mean, he was even calling the plays week 17 against the Patriots. He obviously wanted to get that win up in New England, but I'm not really fussed on who exactly is calling the defensive calls, because I know that Coach Flores is just an absolute wizard when it comes to building a defensive game plan. Some other news from today: Jim Caldwell will not return, which is a huge bummer. So his time in Miami ends without him coaching a single game for the Dolphins. Caldwell was supposed to be the team's quarterbacks coach and veteran voice on Flores' relatively inexperienced staff. He also was supposed to be the assistant head coach to Coach Flores, kind of like, his second in command. But he did have to leave the team in the summer to deal with a health issue and never return to the team. I really hope it's not cancer. I hope that, Jim Caldwell can come through. I mean, he's a great guy. He's been a great guy in the league for a long time. Along with the Josh Boyer and Chan Gailey moves, the Dolphins also formally announced the hiring of Robbie Brown to serve as the quarterback's coach, Austin Clark, who's going to be the outside linebackers coach. So obviously we're going to be running a 3-4 pretty consistently there. If you got a outside linebacker coach, that's pretty telling. Kurt Kuntz as assistant defensive backs coach, and also Steve Marshall is going to be the offensive line coach. I mean, the third offensive line coach for Coach Flores, coming into his second year. That is a lot of... He is going through offensive line coaches like it's nobody's business. Coach Flores didn't comment on the hiring of those four guys during the media session. There's Coach Flores' thoughts on why he got rid of Chad O'Shea and Dave DeGuglielmo, and why he let Patrick Graham leave. And honestly, we just got to see how it plays out. I mean, you can speculate all you want, like, Chan Gailey is going to bring in this great spread offense, or he's going to have an adaptive offense that changes from week to week. We just don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, we've got to wait till the preseason or training camp to see what the offense is going to look like, and then we just got to see how they perform during the regular season. Yeah. And as for Josh Boyer, I think things are going to be fine. I think that the defense is going to, run at a similar level than it did with Patrick Graham. I mean, and we're only going to improve this season because, we're going to pick up a number of elite players this season, through the draft and free agency. The defense is going to look better no matter what, so I'm not really worried about, trading Patrick Graham for Josh Boyer. So that's it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments section. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed the video. See you guys around for the next video. And don't forget, as always, fins up, baby. The future is looking incredibly bright.